WCW, ECW, the Alliance, taking over the pinnacle of sports entertainment, the WWF. So when Shane O'Mac called me, the above-average Mike Sanders, and wanted me to take it down to the bottom of the barrel, right down to the grassroots, I'm talking about HWA, Heartland Wrestling Association, I was more than honored to take this task because I think we can get it done with the talent that we possess. The former tag team champions, Jindrak, Johnny the Bull, former hardcore champion Reno. With a host of talent we got, there's absolutely no stopping us. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to get a chance to see HWA tonight, but at any time, any given moment, the most genetically jacked, gifted group of individuals in professional wrestling today can take over. That's the WCW. Now, back to a lesser group of men, HWA announcers.
Welcome to Heartland Wrestling, the HWA. I'm Les Thatcher, your host for this hour of exciting professional wrestling. And on my left, longtime friend, certainly one of the great managers of all time in professional wrestling, Jim Cornette. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Les. We're going to be seeing some exciting talent tonight, some former WCW superstars who have invaded Heartland Wrestling Association. We're going to see the HWA's best and a lot of special surprises. And Les, with Ohio Valley Wrestling in Louisville and HWA in Cincinnati being developmental areas for the WWF, there's all kind of big things that are going to happen. I know.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, it's certainly glad to have you aboard. And, of course, you're going to see a lot of great wrestling talent. As Jimmy said, that WCW has invaded the HWA at the grassroots level. Their idea is to cut off the stars of tomorrow today. You're going to be seeing that taking place here. As you heard from Mike Sanders earlier, HWA is in jeopardy of being taken over by WCW. But right now, let's go on to the action. Let's go to the ring announcer, Haas.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Haas. I'm going to be your ring announcer. Let's get to the first matchup. Right now, with me in the ring from Edmond, Oklahoma, Charlie and Russ, the Haas brothers.
And, of course, now, coming to the ring, two of the
Coming to the ring
WCW
from Las Vegas,
invasion.
Nevada, and Brooklyn, New York, Johnny the Bull and Reno.
Well, Les, as you said, Johnny the Bull and Reno entering the ring now. They are members of the WCW invasion. And the Haas brothers, who I know you have a lot of stock in HWA, are going to be trying to fend off the invaders here in the opening contest.
Absolutely. The Haas brothers, Russ and Charlie. Russ, the one with the goatee. Charlie, the clean-shaven of the Haas brothers, out of Edmond, Oklahoma. And, of course, a lot of great wrestling talent coming out of Oklahoma. The Briscoe brothers, Bill Watts, Danny Hodge.
And more, the referee calls for the bell, and we've got action right now. The Haas brothers against Johnny the Bull and Reno. And right now, that is Johnny the Bull.
Reno,
I'm sorry, Reno. Opening up, I knew you'd catch me, Les. Reno opening up with Charlie Haas, and there's move and counter move there. And Les, you've got to be impressed with these Haas brothers. They were tremendous amateurs in college, tremendous athletic backgrounds on both these young men. And you can't come any higher in recommendation than Gerald Briscoe, the brother of former NWA World Champion Jack Briscoe. Personally selected these kids to be signed by the WWF to a developmental contract and sent to HWA. Wait a minute. There was a pinning combination.
Yes, nice try for the roll-up by Russ Haas. As he goes back to that arm on Reno. Reno on defense now as Russ windmills that arm, applying the pressure. And, of course, the Haas brothers, you mentioned, Jimmy, are one of the top teams in the HWA.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at this.
Tag.
The Haas brothers, double team maneuver. Boomerang into a belly-to-belly overhead.
Beautiful.
Down.
Going to try for the pin. 2 count by Ray Ramsey, but Reno kicks out. Great teamwork by the Haas brothers. Not only brothers, but a well-oiled machine. As you mentioned, great amateur wrestlers out of Seton Hall University.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you see that? Johnny the Bull shot the knee into the back, and now Charlie Haas responds in kind, but he took his eye off the ball left.
Yes, he did. Once he took his eyes off of Reno, the WCW combination is in the driver's seat. Reno working on Charlie Haas now. He goes for the arm and tags Johnny the Bull.
First time we're going to see Johnny the Bull in legitimate legal action here. Now double elbow to the gut. And now a kick right to the side of the head and an uppercut punch takes Charlie Haas down to the mat.
And both combinations working well as a team.
Oh,
here,
wait a minute,
Jim.
Johnny the Bull hooking that leg, but referee Ray Ramsey was out of position unless, of course, we touched on it earlier in the program. Both Ohio Valley Wrestling, located in Louisville. I am the matchmaker for OVW and the Heartland Wrestling Association, of course, right here in the great Buckeye state of Ohio.
That's
bringing some of the future superstars of professional wrestling to the fans through the developmental program with the WWF, but now this WCW invasion, wait a minute, Spinebuster, lateral press and no.
And Johnny the Bull triumphs with him. We, right at this point, too, would like to welcome WRGT TV, Fox Channel 45 in Dayton, Ohio. We're on their station every Saturday night beginning at 12 midnight. We hope you'll join us. We want to welcome them aboard. Right now, it's the Haas brothers on defense as Charlie needs to make that tag to Brother Russ.
Well, Reno makes that tag from Johnny the Bull. Now Reno stepping back in and Charlie Haas in no man's land. Reno and Johnny the Bull, part of this WCW invasion that's trying to take over the HWA. The WCW forces don't want the HWA talent and the WWF developmental talent to make it to the main stage, to Monday Night Raw before they do. Look at the power there.
Beautiful.
My God, that was Steiner-like, and its execution is now. Reno took Charlie Haas over in that belly-to-belly suplex and now makes the tag. Johnny the Bull back in, and the Bull and Reno making quick and precise tags, while Charlie Haas has been cut off from his brother and his partner for the last several minutes.
And we are seeing a very equal, well-balanced tag team match here. Both teams working well together. The Haas brothers open on offense.
Oh, wait a minute!
Whoa.
Wait a minute!
Does he have him? Tag
Charlie
is
Haas,
made.
there was the tag! There was the tag! Charlie Haas made an opening! Charlie Haas overbalanced out of that press slam. What's the sunset flip? But, oh no, come on now, Reno. While the referee's back is turned, Ray Ramsey distracted by the other Haas boy, Russ Haas, trying to come in and take up for his brother, but that just gives Reno and Johnny the Bull license to kill.
Reno and Bull doubling up as Ray Ramsey is trying to keep Russ Haas out of the ring. Charlie definitely needs to make that tag now. Look at Reno dropping the lead, shooting those jabs into the midsection, looping the hands into the side of the head with the kicks now. And Reno opening up on offense. And I think Bull and Reno smelling a victory here, Jim.
Oh, wait a minute. There was a look out now. Oh, there's a T-bone. T-bone suplex. Charlie Haas had just suplexed Reno right out of his boots, and both men are down. But Charlie Haas has had a lot taken out of him over the last several minutes. He's fatigued. The punishment has taken its toll. Is Charlie Haas too disoriented to make the tag to his brother? Or can Reno possibly stop? Oh, wait a minute.
There's the tag. Yes. Russ Haas, the fresh man, and Johnny the Bull, and Russ ducks under the arching Johnny the Bull, catches him with a right hand and another right hand. Here comes Reno back into the fray, and Russ drops him. Russ Haas, a man on fire in there, trying to gain that offense back for the team of the Haas brothers. Arm whips, Reno cross ring, takes him high with the backdrop.
Russ Haas has really created an opening here. Russ Haas changed the momentum of this match, but oh no! And Johnny the Bull just grabbed him by the hair and drove him down by the back of the head. Now Johnny the Bull has Russ Haas backed up against the far wall. Charlie Haas still in the ring, so is Reno. Oh, wait a minute! Reno stood up under his man, but Haas held on.
Beautiful
Haas,
balance.
Oh, he snapped his neck on the top rope, and now this thing is broken down into a four-way situation.
And Charlie Haas in now with Johnny the Bull. Let's see, Russ up on the apron. Look at here as Charlie slingshots Russ in over the top, drops the Bull. Reno on the floor. Let's see what's going to happen here as the Haas brothers set it up.
What in good gracious!
Oh.
Backflip, leg drop, cover.
There you have it.
That's it.
Beautifully
That's
done.
The winners, Charlie and Russ Haas in our opening contest here on Heartland Wrestling Association left. What a tremendous, tremendous matchup.
One up for the HWA over the WCW on our opening event here on HWA Wrestling. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more great action.
It's been called the biggest professional wrestling show of the year, and now you can own it on HWA Home Video, the best of the Brian Pillman Memorial. We've taken the hottest moments from 98, 99, and the 2000 Brian Pillman Memorial shows and combined them into this 2 VHS tape set. Don't miss PWI's Match of the Year from Pillman 2000, Chris Benoit versus Steven Regal. See Ray Steele win the HWA Heavyweight Championship in 99. Shark Boy recaptures the HWA Cruiserweight belt in 2000. Did you ever wonder what happened when D'Lo Brown finally meets Ric Flair in the ring? It's more than 3 hours of total pro wrestling legends, now available from HWA Home Video. Now available from HWA Home Video. Order your copy off the web today at hwaonline.com.
Gentlemen, this matchup is scheduled for one fall. In the ring, from Seoul, Korea and Tokyo, Japan, Jimmy Yang and Kaz Hayashi.
Well, the introduction of Yang and Hayashi. The Oriental team here are set to face the team that we are about to be introduced to.
And they're
Unless I know that these are a
from
couple of guys
Liberty,
that are
Indiana,
near your heart.
and
Yes,
20,000
they are.
leagues
Shark.
under the sea. Shark Boy and Chad Coyer.
Shark Boy and Chad Collier, two great cruiserweights. Chad Collier, a NCAA regional champion, and Shark Boy, certainly a favorite of all the children of any place he appears.
Well, Shark Boy has a rather unorthodox ring attire to go with his unorthodox ring style, but Chad Collier and Shark Boy going to be a good contrast.
Yes, they are.
To Hayashi and Jimmy Yang. And of course, Yang is in the ring now. Hayashi on the apron.
Yang with some blue hairs. I suppose to match Shark Boy's outfit, I don't know.
I think I've given up trying to figure out today's hairstyles after I saw Haas, the ring announcer. However, nevertheless, headlock, hip lock, takeover. Action very fast as these light heavyweights will definitely speed the ring up at all times. And right now, Shark Boy, those knife-edge chops to the sternum. And at this point, it's nip and tuck. It's anybody's ball game here.
Yes, Yang shoots him in, catches him with that clothesline, and drops the fish with a hard one. And of course, in the first tag team encounter, HWA scoring the pinfall over the WCW combination. And right here, Jim, I think we've got another even-Steven matchup.
Wait a minute, Shark Boy with the tip-up. Arm drag there on Hayashi. Jimmy Yang waiting on the apron, trying to get into this competition. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the inaugural episode of the Heartland Wrestling Association on television. Unless I know it's only going to get bigger and brighter from here if the HWA forces can forestall this WCW invasion that Mike Sanders alluded to earlier, and that Reno, Johnny the Bull, Mark Jindrak, so many of these WCW athletes are involved in this invasion of the HWA. You're going to have to be on the lookout to just be able to figure out whose side who's on.
And of course, Jimmy, they're trying to recruit HWA established talent as well. So right at this point, we've got everyone looking over their shoulder, not sure who is on whose side. Chad Collier right now, a product of Dean Malenko's training camp down in Tampa, Florida, and he's almost a younger version of the man of 1,000 holes himself. A great cruiserweight. He's made several tours of Japan and has wrestled.
Oh, wait a minute. Hayashi sent his man across, or Yang did, and Hayashi caught him with a knee in the back. They would take a page out of Johnny the Bull and Reno's playbook in the first match tonight. Chad Collier.
Nice drop toe hold by Chad to counter Hayashi's charge. Comes up with the side headlock now as Kaz shoots him off. Hayashi, one of the top cruiserweights out of the land of the rising sun. Up and over on Collier. Sets him up for the hip block. Look at there.
Did you see that? He went for the hip block, and Collier reversed direction in midair. Went with the hip toss, or went with the monkey flip, and then an arm drag takedown there. And the folks here roaring their approval that the team of Collier and Shark Boy, the Oriental team, is off balance.
And right now, we'd like to mention to you that we are taping the HWA show every Sunday night, beginning at 7:30 p.m. in Jeffersonville, Indiana, right across the river from Louisville, Kentucky at Davis Arena. Starting time is 7:30, and it is free. So come on out and join us. Right now, Chad Coyer setting up some offense, charging, but the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Kaz Hayashi gets him a 2 count, but Coyer kicks out. Hayashi now trying out offense. Tag goes to Jimmy Yang. And again, the parity in all the matches we've seen thus far, Jimmy, all the teams well matched and very competitive.
Well, both these teams well matched size-wise and with the accompanying styles. Wait a minute, there's a press and he hooked the near leg, but not enough for Coyer. Coyer's still too strong. Jimmy Yang now putting the pressure on as the folks here in the Davis Arena in Jeffersonville, Indiana, firmly in the corner of Shark Boy and Chad Coyer. Referee Robert Briscoe checking the action here as the team of Yang and Hayashi attempt to maintain their advantage. And Collier's got to do something quick. They've cut the ring off, Les, and they're keeping him in their half of it.
And, of course, that is what a pro does, Jim, is cuts that half of the ring off, keeping his opponent on their half.
Oh, wait a minute.
Coyer switches it into a sleeper now, if he can hook it and hook it right. But Yang in behind him.
Oh! Yang just picked his man up and dropped him face first. Coyer hit that mat. And now, once again, the team of Yang and Hayashi makes the tag, and Hayashi stepping in. Hayashi, not the biggest dog in the yard, but this martial arts expert more than makes up for his lack of weight with speed, science, and a deadly knowledge of martial arts. Wait a minute, look at that inside leg trip there. Took his man down, and he appears to be going possibly for the figure 4. No, it's a Funk family spinning toe hold.
Spinning toe hold on that right leg, just the same way the Funks use it. Applying the pressure. Chad trying to work his way to that corner. He needs to make the tag to Shark Boy right now. And listen to this crowd at Davis Arena. They are behind Coyer and Shark Boy. Tag goes to Jimmy Yang. Yang and Hayashi tagging in and out with a fluid action and keeping Chad Coyer on defense. A stomp into the shoulder now as Chad tries to come to his feet. Let's see, Yang shoots him in. Coyer ducks the clothesline, ducks the elbow. Flying crossbody.
Good Lord.
Almost.
He almost had him. He
Yes,
almost
he
had
did.
him. What a crossbody. I've never seen momentum like that. But now, once again, Yang back all over the top of Chad Coyer and right into Hayashi's corner. Shark Boy still all the way across the ring, so Coyer made a valiant attempt, but it was an all-or-nothing effort, and he wasn't able to make that tag. And look at here as he takes him in the corner, drops him face first onto that top turnbuckle. We want to remind you that on Saturday, September the 15th, HWA is in Batavia, Ohio at the Red Barn Flea Market with all the stars you're seeing right here on Fox 45 on HWA Wrestling. And right now, Chad Coyer needs to make that tag as Jimmy Yang loops that right hand in and pushes Coyer back into the corner, drives him up, straightens him up with another right hand, sets him up, goes for the slam and drops him. When he gets the pin here, 2 count. Unorthodox type of cover that Jimmy Yang was using there. He did hook the far leg, but he was crouched over the top of Coyer. Don't think he had all his weight on him that he could have. But now, Hayashi in it. I'll tell you, Hayashi, he'll fight you. I've seen him a couple of times in action, and boy, he'll get up in the face of a 300-pounder. Wait a minute, Coyer ducked under, came out with a reverse neck breaker. Coyer has the opportunity to make the tag. Shark Boy screaming in the corner, the folks behind Coyer. Can Coyer make it to the tag before Hayashi tags Jimmy Yang?
Yes, Yang comes in.
Oh, wait a minute, Yang came in without a tag.
Yes, he
There
did.
was no tag.
Shark Boy moves in, but Briscoe is cutting him off right now as Yang and Hayashi double up on Coyer. Yang shot in,
Whoa!
Coyer sidestep, ducks the clothesline.
Good
shoots-
night.
Oh! What a belly to back. He took Hayashi over on that one and thought he broke his neck. Shark Boy catches the tag, drop kicks to Hayashi, drop kick to Jimmy Yang. The fish on the go now offensively. Reverse of the whip by Kaz Hayashi. Fish with a knee into the chin. Drives Yang back into the corner. Yang, the
Shark Boy up on the ropes. Shark Boy is cooking right now. I'll tell you, Hayashi's got to get in there and interfere to save his partner, Jimmy Yang. Wait a minute, was that a bite? Did the shark bite?
Yes, it was.
Does your shark bite, left?
He does bite, Jim, and bites with some viciousness. Chad Coyer in. Hayashi reverses the whip. Shark catches him. He's going for his Dead Sea drop here.
Oh, wait a minute. Collier charged and went over the top. Jimmy Yang pulled the top rope down, and Collier hit the ground.
Beautiful
and now Yang has
drop kick.
Shark Boy hung. Wow, my Lord.
What a double team that was. And
They
there
got
you
it.
have it. Hayashi with that doubling up with Jimmy Yang. Gets the pin on Shark Boy. They are your winners. And, man, it's such action, Jimmy. We're going to have to take a break, and we'll be back with more great WA and HWA. I'll get it right here in a minute. Action in just a moment.
Are you tired of pro wrestling news that just turns out to be bogus? Well, get the real scoop from a couple of insiders, Sean Stedham and Willie F. It's the Wrestling Guys. Wednesday nights at 6, tune in to the Wrestling Guys on 9, 10 a.m. WPFB for all the latest news from inside the pro wrestling business. Or catch the Rebel Ringside Report Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 105.9 FM, The Rebel. It's Sean and Willie Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on The Rebel, or Wednesday evening at 6 and 9, 10 a.m. WPFB, The Wrestling Guys.
Where should you turn to find the best information on the HWA? Go to HWAonline.com. Is the HWA coming to a town near you? The events page will give you the dates, times, and directions you need to see the HWA live. Check out our stars section. We have websites for all your HWA superstars, giving you all the information you can handle. Looking for some HWA merchandise? We've got that as well. And if you are interested in getting into the wrestling business, check out Les Thatcher's Main Event Pro Wrestling Camp.
Welcome back to more action with the Heartland Wrestling Association. I'm being joined in the ring right now by a young man that I know very well. He's one of the HWA standouts. He's been a World Wrestling Federation developmental talent for over 2 years now. And Steve Bradley, you have yet to reach the main stage in the World Wrestling Federation, and I know you've got to have some comments now that HWA is on television. You feel that it's about to be your time.
You know, Jim, first of all, I just want to come out here and thank you for the opportunity to speak for a minute. You know, opportunity is not something that Steve Bradley has seen very much of in my life. Where I grew up, downtown Boston, Neyland Street, the combat zone, opportunity was not something that often came around. See, I didn't have much growing up, Jim, except an alcoholic father who liked to use me for a punching bag, and a mother who had to work 2 jobs to make sure that I had lunch money going to school. But you see, Jim, just like every good coin, there's a flip side to that. And in this invasion thing going on, WCW is that flip side. You see, guys, if you want to come in here and try to take my spot, you got another thing coming. You see, when you were in the power plant, where they used to grow wrestlers like grass, I was in Puerto Rico trying to avoid spark plugs that fans would throw at me. I was in Memphis winning every single title that came my way when you guys were on Monday Nitro getting your opportunity. Well, guys, you think you're going to walk in here? I've been on the developmental contract for 3 years. You are not going to take my spot. And if you want to get... If you guys want to get where I'm going, the line starts behind Steve Mofo.
Oh, wait a minute now. Hold on. I'm seeing Mike Sanders and Mark Jindrak, Jason Jett. This is Steve Bradley's interview time. I don't know what the... Wait a minute. This is Steve Bradley's interview time, Mike Sanders, and I don't know whether you brought Jindrak and Jett out here to cause some trouble or not. But you have your time allotted later on in the program. We've already heard from you to begin with.
Maybe you don't know who I am, Jim Cornette. I'm Mike Sanders. Steve, I'm Mike Sanders, former WCW commissioner, former Cruiserweight champ. Now,
Are these your bodyguards?
Now, before I get started, I'd like to introduce Mark Jindrak, former WCW Tag Team champ. Now, I'd also like to introduce to you the man going up for the HWA World title tonight, Mr. Easy Money Jason Jett here. And don't be surprised if there's a title change. But let me tell you something, Steve, that's why I'm not out here, okay? I'm out here to talk to you man to man. Now, you've had an opportunity to make some decisions here. Now, last week at Jillian's, you dropped the ball. You didn't pick it up. We were 4th and 40, and you didn't run with it like you were supposed to. But you know what? As all good coaches do, I'm going to put you back in the game. I'm going to give you another chance to pick that ball up and run it in for a touchdown. See, I want you to be part of the WCW team.
I mean, is this an offer of membership?
This is an offer to come on over to solid ground. You know, you've got a good future with us. HWA is not your future. So, with that being said, we extend open arms. Come on over, Steve. We want you on the team.
And I take it you can hear what the folks in the audience think of your offer, and this is his award for joining your group, one of your T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to put this on him. Steve Bradley, we're going to make you a superstar.
Steve, what do you got to say? The ball seems to be in your court. You hear what they think.
You're right, Jim. I do hear what everybody else in here is saying, but I am a man who thinks for himself. I've always been that way, and you've known me for a long time. So you guys came out here, 3 guys on 1, to ask me to join WCW. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I guess this looks like a situation that if I decline your offer, you guys are gonna kick my butt. Something to that effect. Is that right, Mike?
No.
Right, I think you will. So, if that's something that's going to happen, Mike, because I think it is, I guess I'm just going to have to beat you to the punch.
Jimmy Cornette bailed out, and I've got the microphone up here as Jindrak, Jett, and Sanders start putting the boots to Steve Bradley. He wouldn't accept their offer. He told him that before. Look here, Sanders coming back with a chair right now. And here's Cody Hawk and Lance Cade hitting the ring. And they're cutting Sanders off and going to work on Jett and Jindrak. Cody Hawk and Lance Cade, tag team partners, certainly aren't close friends of Steve Bradley, but they are with the HWA. And right now you see Sanders and Jindrak and Jett heading for high timber as Cody Hawk and Lance Cade are saving Steve Bradley's bacon. And there you have it. The invasion group has struck once again. Steve Bradley, the victim this time because he wouldn't join the group. We're going to have to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more action right after this.
Are you tired of pro wrestling news that just turns out to be bogus? Well, get the real scoop from a couple of insiders, Sean Stedham and Willie F. It's the Wrestling Guys. Wednesday nights at 6, tune in to the Wrestling Guys on 9, 10 a.m. WPFB for all the latest news from inside the pro wrestling business. Or catch the Rebel Ringside Report Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 105.9 FM, The Rebel. It's Sean and Willie Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on The Rebel. Or Wednesday evening at 6 and 9, 10 a.m. WPFB, The Wrestling Guys.
Where should you turn to find the best information on the HWA? Go to HWAonline.com. Is the HWA coming to a town near you? The events page will give you the dates, times, and directions you need to see the HWA live. Check out our stars section. We have websites for all your HWA superstars, giving you all the information you can handle. Looking for some HWA merchandise? We've got that as well. And if you are interested in getting into the wrestling business, check out Les Thatcher's Main Event Pro Wrestling Camp.
It's been called the biggest professional wrestling show of the year, and now you can own it on HWA Home Video, the best of the Brian Pillman Memorial. We've taken the hottest moments from 98, 99, and the 2000 Brian Pillman Memorial shows and combined them into this 2 VHS tape set. Don't miss PWI's Match of the Year from Pillman 2000, Chris Benoit versus Steven Regal. See Ray Steele win the HWA Heavyweight Championship in '99. Shark Boy recaptures the HWA Cruiserweight belt in 2000. Did you ever wonder what happened when D'Lo Brown finally meets Ric Flair in the ring? It's more than 3 hours of total pro wrestling legends, now available from HWA Home Video. Now available from HWA Home Video. Order your copy off the web today at HWAOnline.com.
A segment we're going to have weekly on HWA on Heartland Wrestling is called Hanging Out With. And Jimmy, this week we're hanging out with two of the biggest prospects in WWF and two of the biggest guys in HWA, Ekmo and Kimo, the Island Boys.
Well, the Island Boys, a tremendous tag team, not only in terms of size and strength, but also in terms of bloodlines. Because after all, Les, as you know, Kimo is the son of Sika, one of the Wild Samoans, and Ekmo is the brother of current WWF superstar Rikishi. So the Island Boys definitely have the bloodlines, the background, and the talent to make it to the top.
Absolutely. I had a chance to talk to him earlier. This is what went on. Let's take a look. Hello, this is Les Thatcher, and this segment's called Hanging Out With. Today it's the Island Boys. On this side of me, Kimo, and on this side, OG Ekmo. They're probably the two biggest guys in the HWA, but probably their backgrounds go further back in professional wrestling, also than anyone else in the HWA. This young gentleman, the smaller of these two guys, the little one, at 360 pounds, OG Ekmo is the younger brother of Rikishi Fatu. And this one at 425 and a little change, Kimo is the son of Sika, of Appa and Sika, the Wild Samoans. And besides eating, big man, what's one of your favorite pastimes?
Eating. That's how I get my workout, Les. You need to join the Island Boys often, man. Me and Kimo, we rip buffets up 24 hours, you know. But, hey, that's what the Island Boys do best. But when we get in the ring, it's a different story. You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. Well, ripping buffets up is one thing, but you've been ripping a lot of independent wrestling up over the last couple years as the Island Boys as well, haven't you?
Yeah, actually, we've been doing pretty good at it. Since '95, we've been staying pretty active in the independent circuit, wrestling a lot overseas, pretty much taking care of business all over the world, Puerto Rico, Japan, all through the Northeast, Southeast independent circuit, Germany, and doing pretty good at it.
Well, let me ask you this. I know your dad's starting this, exactly at what age did Dad start teaching the ropes of professional wrestling?
Actually, I got my first slam when I was 5 years old after I brought 4 Fs home on my report card. And then it kind of got a single-day training session every 6 weeks after that. But it didn't really get stuck into my brain until about '95. Me and Ekmo started getting trained by Rikishi. My dad, Yokozuna, had a big hand in training us. And we also went up to the Wild Samoan Training Center up in Pennsylvania a few times and trained with our uncle up there.
All right, and of course your brother has already made a big footprint in the WWF, Rikishi, and of course big shoes to fill.
Big shoes. But I believe the Island Boys can fill it, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. This guy doesn't talk a lot, but he sure has a lot. You're all action? Yeah. Good.
Talk is cheap.
Well, you know, the one thing I do want to talk about, something going on in the HWA, the invasion, the alliance, WCW. Shane O'Mac has sent several of the WCW guys down here to cut it off at grassroots. How do you feel about it?
Well, to tell you the truth, our grassroots was raised up in the WWF. We were running around those locker rooms since I was 5 years old and Ekmo was 4. So there was, at first, a lot to talk about with me, Ekmo, and Steve Bradley, but as far as we're concerned, we were WWF, HWA the whole way through. We've been around WWF our whole lives, and the Samoans have always been loyal to WWF, so deep in our mind, there was really no decision to be made. HWA all the way, especially with WWF backing it.
So no matter the
school in the dressing room if we had to, right? All we needed was some teachers back there, you know. So, what do you think?
I think that we're happy to have you with the HWA, and certainly two big factors that backs up the invasion on the HWA side. And there you have it. OG Ekmo and Kimo, the Island Boys, and that's it for hanging out with the Island Boys today on HWA. We'll be back right after this with more action-packed wrestling.
It's been called the biggest professional wrestling show of the year, and now you can own it on HWA Home Video, the best of the Brian Pillman Memorial. We've taken the hottest moments from 98, 99, and the 2000 Brian Pillman Memorial shows and combined them into this 2 VHS tape set. Don't miss PWI's Match of the Year from Pillman 2000, Chris Benoit versus Steven Regal. See Ray Steele win the HWA Heavyweight Championship in '99. Shark Boy recaptures the HWA Cruiserweight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this matchup is an HWA Cruiserweight title match. In the ring right now with me, the challenger from West Bilburn, West Virginia, Jamie Knoble.
Jamie Knoble out of West Virginia, a tough little competitor, very intense, Jimmy, and of course, he's meeting Matt Stryker, our HWA title holder.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not that familiar with Knoble,
His
but I sure
opponent,
am familiar
the
with this
champion.
young man.
Escorted to the ring by his manager, Helena Heavenly, Matt Stryker.
Well, Matt Stryker in the ring with Helena Heavenly. I'm not sure if she's a valet, manager, second, accomplice, or a romantic interest.
Or all the above.
Or all the above. This is for the HWA Cruiserweight Championship,
Yes,
and
it
I'll
is.
tell you what, it's going to be a good one. And Matt Stryker, as I said, I'm very familiar with this young man, the current HWA Cruiserweight Champion. Jamie Knoble, of course, I believe, has aligned himself with those invading WCW forces.
Yes,
and that can lead to no good, Les.
Knoble, during his WCW run, was one of the young dragons, along with Jimmy Yang and Kaz Hayashi. So, yes, a tough little cruiserweight. And you know what Mike Sanders neglected to tell you earlier, but had mentioned to me before the program started taping, was that there's so much talent in this WCW and invasion, Les, that we had to draw names to see who was going to face the HWA Cruiserweight and the HWA Heavyweight Champion tonight.
Well, I think Mike Sanders, you know, they say a team's modus operandi is an extension of its coach's personality. If Mike Sanders is the de facto coach of the WCW forces, then I'd say they're pretty obnoxious and generally always in a bad mood. But Sanders may be able to find a better way to pick a challenger for a championship than by drawing a name out of a hat. But right now, Knoble, Blister, and Stryker back in the corner. Knife-edge chop, sends a boot to the gut. And now Knoble going to send his man across with Stryker. Had that one scouted. Chip up and over and a chop of his own.
And Matt Stryker laying his own chops in now on Jamie Knoble as Knoble sags on the ropes from the onslaught. Stryker goes to whipping cross. Knoble reverse it and knees Stryker, taking the wind out of Stryker's sails. We want to remind you that on Wednesday, September the 26th, the HWA once again invades Covington, Kentucky at Jillian's Entertainment Complex right off of I-75. And for the latest in HWA cards, check HWAonline.com.
But boy, I tell you, so far, we thought this Cruiserweight Championship match was going to be a great wrestling match. This is turning into a dogfight because Jamie Knoble is breaking every rule in his book. He's trying to maul Stryker. Now Knoble slams Stryker right in the middle. Comes off with that, tremendous elbow drive right at the sternum. Lateral press, count of 1 and 2 by Ray Ramsey, but no.
No vanity pins here for Jamie Knoble. He's trying to cover Stryker and keep him down. Stryker kicks out on both of them.
Whoa!
Oh, fish fisherman suplex by Knoble. Gets a 2 count, but Stryker guts him and kicks his way out.
You know, Les, we got to make mention of the fact that a lot of folks may not be familiar with exactly why WCW is invading the Heartland Wrestling Association. The HWA is, of course, a developmental territory for the World Wrestling Federation, and a lot of great talent with WWF developmental contracts has been wrestling in the Heartland Wrestling Association. Now the WCW forces, taking a cue from Shane McMahon, have tried to invade the HWA to prevent these fine young athletes from getting their crack at the WWF before the WCW guys do. And I think that's a load of crap, in my opinion. Wait a minute, Stryker up on top, brought the body all the way across the ring, but they rolled over.
Knoble rolls him
caught
through.
him. No.
A 2 count. And for those of you who are not sure what developmental territory means, that would basically be a AAA farm club in baseball terminology.
Many of the fine superstars you see on television right here are going to go on to the big stage of the World Wrestling Federation. And you'll have seen them first, folks, right here on Heartland Wrestling. Oh, man!
Beautiful enziguri by Stryker. Both men down now as Ray Ramsey starts the double count. And Helena Heavenly patting the mat, tapping the mat, cheering Stryker on.
Stryker ducked that swing, and he nailed Knoble on his own.
Yes, Stryker with the right hands. Arm whips Knoble cross ring. Knoble ducks the elbow. Stryker with a beautiful flying leg whip, and Knoble takes the 2 count, but he's kicking out. And so many close pins here, Jim.
Well, Knoble, right now, wait a minute, Knoble got to make an opening for himself. Got to change this tide in a hurry. Trying to go for the backslide. But can he wait? Oh, wait a minute, Stryker ducked under. Now Stryker, quick turnaround power slam. Hooked the far leg, but he couldn't get him. Knoble still too strong.
Stryker back up. Knoble coming up slower now. The wind taken out of him on that power slam. Stryker arm whips him into the nearest corner. Charges in, is caught with a boot. Knoble not out of this one. He is groggy and dazed, but still in the ball game. Double leg. Goes for the pin, using the ropes
Oh,
here.
wait a minute. Ramsey caught that.
What's
Ray
Mark
Ramsey
Jindrak
caught it,
is out into the
Mark
arena
Jindrak
now.
has just come to ringside, and he's going over to Helena Heavenly. On the other side of the ring, he's confronted Helena. And meanwhile, this HWA Cruiserweight title match goes on with Stryker and Knoble jockeying for position. Jindrak trying to pick up on Helena. Get a date on your own time, pal. Jindrak couldn't get a date on a tombstone. Knoble drops behind. Knoble swing. Stryker blocks it. Stryker hooking his man for the vertical suplex. Takes him over and down. Stryker.
He's going up.
To the top.
He's going for that swanton now. He's up there. Look
Now,
here.
wait a minute.
Shannon
Oh,
Moore,
man.
one of the 3 count from WCW. Ray Ramsey turns. Jindrak backs off. Stryker down. Obviously, the wind taken out of his sails. Let's see who's going to come up first. He or Knoble.
Stryker was going to put him away. Stryker was going to put Knoble away. But Shannon Moore came out and pushed him off the top rope right on his head. That's a 3 count. My God. Jamie Knoble from the WCW has become the first WCW wrestler to win a championship in the Heartland Wrestling Association.
And he has struck the first big blow for WCW's invasion. Stryker has dropped the Cruiserweight title to Jamie Knoble, of course, with a big assist from Shannon Moore and the distraction by Mark Jindrak. Jimmy, a big feather in the WCW cap.
Boy, I tell you what, we got to get this situation straightened out. Wait a minute, Knoble so staggered he can barely stand up. Folks, we will be right back. And when we come back, we will have the HWA Heavyweight Championship on the line.
Are you tired of pro wrestling news that just turns out to be bogus? Well, get the real scoop from a couple of insiders, Sean Stedham and Willie F. It's the Wrestling Guys. Wednesday nights at 6, tune in to the Wrestling Guys.
We're back and just moments away from the HWA heavyweight title defense, Ray Steele against Jason Jett. But right now, we'd like to make welcome and introduce to you the commissioner of the Heartland Wrestling Association, Mr. Patrick Black.
Hey guys, what's going on? Isn't it great? HWA live on TV.
How about it, Patrick? And of course, you know, for the first time, the WCW made a big dent in the HWA by winning that Cruiserweight title just this last match. How do you feel about that?
I tell you what, it took a lot of interference there. But I'm really excited about this next matchup for the HWA Heavyweight Championship. Ray Steele taking on Jason Jett.
Exactly. Patrick Black, the commissioner of the HWA, he'll be in attendance watching this heavyweight title defense. And right now, let's throw out the Haas in the ring to introduce same.
This matchup is an HWA heavyweight title match. In the ring, the challenger from Daytona Beach, Florida, Jason Jett.
Well, Jason Jett has been introduced. He is the challenger to the current HWA heavyweight champion. Now held by the man that we are about to see coming to the ring. And Les, I know you know a lot about this young man, Ray Steele.
Yes, this young man out of
Coming to the ring, the champion from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Ray Steele.
And Ray Steele also.
Well, right now, folks, the HWA Heavyweight Championship about to be decided. Ray Steele against Jason Jett. We have one more commercial commitment. And when we come back, we'll have the HWA title on the line.
It's been called the biggest professional wrestling show of the year. And now you can own it on HWA Home Video. The best of the Brian...
Turn to find the best information on the HWA.
Welcome back to Heartland Wrestling Association. Oh, wait a minute. Jason Jett. Couldn't wait any longer, folks. Thanks for staying with us. That was our final commercial break, and we will be here on the program to the conclusion of this HWA title match. Jason Jett challenging Ray Steele, the current HWA champion, and left. Ray Steele going to turn this thing around and open up with his own fast break offense.
Jason Jett found out one important thing. You don't pose when Ray Steele's in the ring as your opposition. Steele, former UFC-style fighter, amateur boxer, college football player, great athlete. Look at that leg clothesline.
Look at that leg lariat and cover, lateral press, hook the far leg, but no, Jason Jett. And I'll tell you, this Jason Jett, I have seen this young man develop over the past 6 or 7 years of professional wrestling as well. He's a WCW veteran. Obviously, he'll be joining that side of the conflict in the ongoing WCW takeover attempt of HWA. But Jason Jett has wrestled everywhere around the country. He is a worthy challenger to Ray Steele's current HWA championship. Wait a minute, Jett face first in the turnbuckle. And Ray Steele now motioning for him to come out and take some more.
Race catches him with another chop. Jett now on defense. Race pressing him for position and staying on offense. Arm goes to arm whip him. Jett, whoa, reverse neck breaker.
Jason Jett had him hooked up. There's a 2 count, but Ray Steele came out, and I'll tell you what, Jason Jett, you have to be on the lookout because while Ray Steele's athletic background is so varied, you mentioned the mixed martial arts, you mentioned the various sports that Ray Steele has mastered over his time in athletics. You've got to make mention of Jason Jett, who is one of the most innovative, one of the most talented originators of wrestling maneuvers that I have seen so far in the ring. And Jason Jett is dangerous from any vantage point.
Absolutely right. And, you know, this guy carries enough weight to be a heavyweight, Jim, but he moves like a cruiserweight when he gets in the air.
That's right. He has a tremendous amount of coordination. He can even switch gears in midair, which is something that I would think is basically physically impossible to do, but he does it. Wait a minute. Now, Jason Jett, just as we spoke about it, now hammers Ray Steele with that elbow. Oh,
slingshots himself in, catches Steele with that diving clothesline.
Backflip. He's got him covered, got the leg hook. 2, no.
Steele kicks out on the 2. Jett, as Jimmy said, very innovative with his moves there, but you don't want to get too fancy with this steak and potatoes Ray Steele. Steele is pretty basic, intense, and tough. Ray Steele has tried to build some of his offense around the style of a Chris Benoit and has actually gone to Benoit for advice off and on throughout his short career, Jim.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at Jason Jett putting that surfboard on now. He broke his man down with the back of the knee. Jason Jett putting the pressure on that surfboard, trying to dislocate the shoulders of Ray Steele. Even used his head as a fulcrum there to get more leverage, but Ray Steele trying to turn into the pressure. Ray Steele turns it around and reverses the surfboard hold on Jason Jett as the folks here in the Davis Arena acknowledge their approval of that. The crowd firmly behind Ray Steele, the reigning HWA champion. Jason Jett into the ropes, hooks the ropes. Ray Steele made a mistake. That could have been his last. What is Jett going for here?
Going for what he calls the rocking chair. Again, you mentioned innovation. Here it is.
Oh!
And the drop of the elbow to kind of punctuate the end of the sentence, Jim.
Well, wait a minute. Lateral press here. Count of 2 and no. That rocking chair. Submission maneuver, but he saw that he wasn't going to get it out of Ray Steele, so instead he dropped that elbow right across the back of the head and tried to go for the lateral press. Ray Steele hanging on to the HWA championship by his fingertips at this point against the challenge of the WCW-affiliated Jason Jett.
Absolutely. Once again, we want to thank WRGT Television, Fox Channel 45 in Dayton for joining the HWA network. Watch us there every Saturday night at midnight. And once again, for upcoming HWA cards in your area, check HWAonline.com on the web.
Did you see Ray Steele? That was a big momentum changer. Ray Steele trying to create something for himself. Now, second effort on his part is Jason Jett was stunned. Ray Steele trying to send his man across the ring, but there's a reversal. Jason Jett into the corner. Oh, man. He just clotheslined Ray Steele. Steele seeing those sparkly things as Jason Jett closes in to take over.
We're seeing more chops tonight than in a steakhouse. Look at here. Jett with the boots now to the midsection, and Steele in trouble as Jason Jett mounts his offense.
Well, now Jason Jett, oh, yeah, he's a dancer. He's a romancer. He just put both his feet right in Ray Steele's face, and I'll tell you, Jason Jett better not spend too much time hot dogging. He better try to beat this man, and he is. But he could have, I think he may have had it if he'd have tried to go for the pin, but instead, he had to be an obnoxious son of a gun. Wait a minute. Oh, he went for the back drop. Steele held on. Tornado DDT. Yes. Steele has Jett covered. Will this be it? 2. And the
Jett, no. Jett getting too fancy early on. Steele able to reverse it. Both men worn down by the intensity of this HWA heavyweight title match. Briscoe, double counting now, is at 4 on both Steele and Jett.
The crowd here at the Davis Arena is starting to come alive behind the champion, Ray Steele, as he tries to make it to his feet. Jason Jett just a step behind him. Both men back to their feet, ready to begin again, but this time it's Ray Steele. It's gut check time for the champion, the HWA title holder, the standard bearer. Can he overstall the WCW invasion? Can he stop Jason Jett from bringing the most coveted prize in HWA home to the WCW invasion? We will find out in the next few minutes, because Ray Steele has just a little more time in this program to put Jason Jett away. Can he do it? Wow!
Oh, beautiful.
That's got to be it.
Swinging. Choke slam, and he gets a 2.
Was that a count of 2? I'm trying to check with Briscoe, the referee. Senior official Robert Briscoe calling a 2 count. That was a 2 only. Jason Jett sends his man in the corner. Ray Steele comes out. Fatigued, wearing out
going
both
for
men.
the Steele cutter here, it looks like.
Is that up? No, Jason Jett put him down to his feet. Goes to the gut. Steele drops behind. Jason Jett now doesn't know whether to wind his ass or scratch his what.
There's the Steele cutter. That's what he shoots. Mark Jindrak pulls in and nails Ray Steele.
That's a disqualification here. Mark Jindrak in the ring. He's 6'6". He's about 250. He's chiseled out of granite. And he's got the HWA champion. He just power slammed him.
Here comes Steve Bradley.
Steve Bradley.
Bradley in and stops Jindrak. Whips him off. Takes him up. Whoa, the backdrop. Wait a minute. Here's Mike Sanders in. Kiwi. Put the boots to Steve Bradley. Here comes Kimo and Ekmo. We've got an 8-man battle royal unscheduled here. Kimo, Ekmo, Steve Bradley.
There's Commissioner Black at ringside trying to get him
Black down, trying to stop this thing. Calling the other referees to the ring. All right, Jimmy, we're out of time. The HWA has hung on.